Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to today's video. So we are coming into September now. I don't know where the time has gone, and that means that a lot of you guys that are going to university, it is coming up to your move-in weekend, it's coming up to your freshers week. So I thought that I would make this video in plenty of time for freshers week because I think a lot of you guys could find this useful. So if you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Leah and I have just finished my geography degree. I'm staying at my university to do a master's course, so I feel like I've got a fair bit of experience in freshers week. Last year was a bit different with COVID. Obviously we didn't have a normal freshers week, but hopefully for all of you guys this September things will be going back to normal. Hopefully clubs will be open, you'll have all of your usual events that you'll be able to go to. So I wanted to put together this video for you guys that are into, like, you want to go on the nights out at uni, you are thinking about getting maybe a freshers wristband, and you want to experience that nightlife at uni. If that's not your kind of thing, that is completely fine. There are still loads and loads of things that you can do at university that don't involve going out clubbing or drinking or anything like that. But if you have been watching my channel for a while, then you will know that I do like a good night out. I do enjoy clubbing, and because I have been at uni for a while, there are some things that I have kind of picked up that I wanted to share with you that I think would be really useful, and things that I kind of wish that I knew if I was doing my freshers week all over again. So I hope that you find this useful. Yeah, let's get into the video. So the first thing that I kind of wanted to tell you, I guess, is that no one really wears heels on nights out, and I thought this was really strange because the club that I used to go to every week at home, they had like a dress code. It was a bar and beyond, and you weren't allowed in trainers. I think you could get in Vans, but that was about it. Like white trainers were a no, you couldn't go in like Air Force and stuff. So we used to wear heels a fair bit, but like you absolutely don't have to wear heels at most places at uni. It might depend a little bit about where you are at university. If you go to a really big city, then there might be some clubs there that do have dress codes that you might need to stick to get in, but in general people don't tend to wear heels. It is a lot more casual. People just go in trainers. I don't think I've ever worn heels for a clubbing night at uni, but there might occasionally be events that you do want to wear heels for that are a bit more dressy. So for example, if you're part of any clubs or societies, then these will usually have events at the end of each semester that tend to be more dressy, so you might want to wear heels for that. But general like week to week nights out, you won't need to wear heels, so don't worry about that. And this kind of leads me on to my next point, which is I would really recommend having a designated pair of trainers or shoes or anything that you wear solely for nights out, because I made the mistake in freshers week of wearing a brand new pair of trainers. I went clubbing. One of the club nights in freshers week ended up being like a foam party thing, and my trainers just got absolutely ruined, and I don't even think I've worn them since because they look nothing like when I got them. The colours all faded and everything. So I would have one pair of shoes. It could be trainers, it could be like whatever shoes you feel comfortable in, because obviously you're going to have a better night out if you are comfortable. So I would have one pair of trainers or shoes that you want to wear for nights out and that you're not bothered about getting ruined. So these can be anything. I have an old pair of Air Force now that I just got off Depop, and I wear these on nights out, so I'm not that fussed if they get ruined because they didn't cost me much money, and it's just a lot easier having one pair of trainers rather than ruining lots of different pairs of shoes. Just ruin one. The next kind of piece of advice I have is that the dress code for uni nights out is generally very casual. So I've kind of already touched on this, but there's not going to be many places where you need to go super dressy to get in. So my standard kind of night out outfit is definitely a pair of jeans, a pair of comfy wide leg jeans, and a nice top. I have so many different nice tops, and I literally just wear the same pair of jeans with all of them, but because I changed the top you can't really tell, and most people will do the same, or maybe sometimes like a nice top with a denim skirt or something like that. Like, it's very chilled, but obviously you can wear whatever you want. So if you do want to get more dressed up, I quite often get more dressed up for birthdays, like my birthday, my friends' birthdays. Sometimes we'll go a little bit more dressy, and if you want to do that week to week, then absolutely go for it. People just wear whatever really. There's no right or wrong. As long as you feel comfortable in whatever you are wearing, then just wear what you want. I have also had a lot of questions on Instagram and TikTok about whether to get a freshers wristband or whether to buy the events individually. So this kind of depends on a few things. So firstly, it could depend a bit on where you go to uni. So I go to UEA, which is in Norwich. It's a fairly small uni, and I did get a wristband for Freshers Week. I messaged my flatmates before on our group chat we had on Facebook, and a lot of them were getting wristbands too. So I did get one because I didn't want to get there and then end up missing out because I didn't get tickets. And for me personally, it definitely was worth the money. Me and this one girl from my flat, we went on every night out except for one, and we had the best time, so I don't regret getting a wristband at all. But I do know that there are some people that kind of wish they hadn't have got a wristband because they didn't feel like they got their money's worth out of going to the events, and they ended up going to other events in town and stuff like that. So it kind of depends on what your flat's doing. So because all of my flat were getting wristbands, I got one and it was worth it because I had people to go out with. So I would recommend joining a Facebook group and trying to find your flatmates if you can, and trying to see if they are going to get a wristband or not, because if they're not getting a wristband, then I probably wouldn't. Even though you'll meet so many people in Freshers Week, but especially the first few nights, you will tend to go out with your flat because they're the only people you really know in those first few days. So it's a good idea to kind of do what they're doing. And also, I said it depends on uni-wise, which it does. So if you are going to a big university, so maybe like a big city in Manchester or Nottingham or somewhere like that, then they probably have a lot more clubs and a lot more events in the city centre as well, rather than like on campus. So you might want to do a mix of both, like maybe buy a few of the official SU events for your uni and then get a few events in the city centre. Kind of just depends what your flat are doing. So I hope that kind of helps you to know whether to get a wristband or not. It basically just depends on each person's own situation. But also, if you don't get a wristband and then some events have sold out that you decide last minute you do want to go to, then I would recommend joining every uni will have like a Facebook ticket exchange page. So I would join that, and then you can just buy, like there'll always be people selling tickets, so you can just search on that and buy a ticket probably on the night, to be honest. Like you'll be able to get one more often than not. My next piece of advice is always go out with at least one person that you trust to stay with you all night. So this could be probably normally someone in your flat. I mean, you'll go out with so many people, but make sure like you kind of have that conversation before you go out and be like, look, don't leave me. So then you don't end up having to go back on your own, because that is never a wise thing to do. And that also leads me on to my next piece of advice, I guess, which is always make sure you know how you're getting home. So in my Freshers Week, which was quite a few years ago now, we were always fine to get a taxi. Like there was always loads of taxis available, or sometimes we would also get the last bus home. But more recently when I've gone out, I don't know whether it's just like something to do with COVID, maybe they don't have as many drivers or something, but we've really struggled to get taxis. So I would definitely recommend for this year booking a taxi in advance, just in case, because the last thing that you want to do is end up being stranded and possibly having to walk back. I know it's a bit of a pain having to pre-book because obviously you don't know when you're going to want to leave, but I just think that it's better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to end up having to walk back or end up stranded in the city centre. If you book one for when the club ends, then like even if you want to leave the club like an hour early or something, you can just go and sit in a chip shop and wait until your taxi, or maybe the taxi will be able to come earlier. But especially if you do think that you're going to be wanting to go back at the end of like when the club finishes, there's going to be so many people also trying to get back at the same time. So I do think, especially like this year with COVID and stuff, just make sure that you have a taxi booked so you know that you can get home safely. The next thing on my list is just to talk to as many people as possible in Freshers Week. Freshers Week is the absolute best time to talk to people and meet as many people as you can, because everyone is so friendly and everyone just wants to make as many friends and meet as many people as possible. So it's not weird to start random conversations in Freshers Week. Like I'd say the first 2 weeks are optimum time to like start random conversations with people, and it's not weird. But if you leave it longer than like maybe 2 or 3 weeks into the start of the year, then you might feel a bit more awkward, like going and speaking randomly to people. So I'd really make the most of your first, especially your first week, but mostly your first 2 weeks, and just talk to whoever you want to talk to and get to know everyone. My next piece of advice is for when you get back from your night out, and this is to have a glass of water and some food before you go to bed. So this is literally gonna, well, not cure your hangover, but it's definitely gonna help you feel a little bit more alive the next day, especially if you have a 9 AM in the morning. I can proudly say I never missed a 9 AM because I was hungover. Like, in my head, I just wouldn't let myself, because my thinking was like, I'm doing this to myself, like I don't have to go out, but I am going out, so I can't then miss my lectures because it's my own fault that I feel bad. Do you get what I mean? So you definitely can make your 9 AM lectures. Honestly, take it from me, it is not nice. It's not nice at all, and you probably won't really concentrate that much, but at least you can then say you've been. So whether you get food in town or whether you cook food when you're back in your flat, just have something to eat, have a glass of water, go to bed. And then Baroccas are also really good the next day. Baroccas are quite expensive, I think, but you can also get like supermarket owned brands in places like Tesco or Asda, and they really help with the hangover. They kind of like give you all the nutrients back and help you feel a bit more alive for the day. So I'd really recommend trying that if you do suffer with a bad hangover like I do. And then the final thing that I wanted to say is just to make the most of your freshers week in first year, and just make the most of first year in general, because you only get to do your first year once, and you don't want to have regrets of like, oh, I wish I'd gone on that night out, or I wish I'd spoke to that person, or I wish I went to that flat party. Like, honestly, just make the most of it. I know things have been a little bit weird with COVID and like not really being able to socialise properly, but I am feeling positive that, fingers crossed, we are coming to the end of that now, and that all of our years at uni this year will kind of be back to some kind of normality, fingers crossed. So yeah, make the most of your first year. Say yes to however many things you want to say yes to, because most courses, it doesn't count for first year. Like, you just have to get 40% to pass, and then like second and third year are the ones that count. It is different for every course, so I would check that. Don't just go off my word, but for my course anyway, first year didn't count. I'm not saying that you should go out so much that you end up getting behind, because I definitely would not recommend that. Make sure you're staying on top of your work, but like, just don't stress about it too much. Like, just have fun in first year, because second and third year are probably the years that you're going to want to cut back on how much you're going out. So make the most of it in first year, and especially in the first month, because you're probably not going to have any coursework deadlines or exams in the first month, I wouldn't have thought. So yeah, it's the best time to meet loads of people. So that's it for today's video. I really hope that you found some of these things useful. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I answer to every single comment. Please remember to like and subscribe for more university content and lifestyle content and everything like that. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.